Hi there. Do you understand blood sugar? Well, if you're a diabetic, you need to. But it's all so complicated, right? I'm Donna Denson, the dynamic diabetic, and today I'm going to try to explain blood sugars in a simple way, okay? And I recently was presented with an explanation of blood sugars that I'd never heard quite that way before. And I want to pass that on to you. So I'm going to try to do this in a manner that you can understand clearly what's going on. So we know that our body needs our blood sugars, okay? It needs us, though, to maintain our blood sugar at 100. Now, you might have a range of 80 to 110, but basically, your body is happy. Your body is meant to have that level at 100. If it gets too high, that is hyperglycemia, diabetes. If it gets too low, that's hypoglycemia, which can be bad as well. So, what we need to understand is that our bodies breaks down everything that we eat into sugar. Everything, sugar or glucose, even our protein and our fat is eventually broken down into sugar. We have two organs that help us to maintain our sugar level and to make adjustments. And that is your liver, which is on your right side, about the size of a football, and your pancreas on your left side, that is much, much smaller. Your liver controls your blood sugar when you're not eating. Your pancreas controls your blood sugar when you are eating. So your liver adds sugar to the bloodstream for energy when we're not eating, okay? And it adds stored sugar. And stored sugar comes, that's stored in your muscle and in your liver, or it gets that sugar from fat. We'll come back to that. But that's where your liver gets the sugar it adds to your bloodstream because you're not eating. And then when you are eating and you've got plenty of fuel, your pancreas pulls sugar from your bloodstream and uses it either as energy, stored sugar, or fat. So, what we want is for our liver to pull from fat to add sugars, not from our stored sugars, okay? Because our stored sugars help our muscles and our liver. But fat, it doesn't do us any good at all. And if our liver doesn't pull the fat to use, then it just stays there and does nothing except collect around your middle, right? To store sugar, okay, to have that glycogen for us to use, for our liver to use, we have to have potassium. Now, we have to have 4,700 milligrams of potassium a day. To give you an idea, one banana has 400 milligrams of potassium. So, as my husband laughingly told me, you'd have to eat the whole tree to be able to get 4,700 milligrams of potassium. And we're not going to do that, right? And if you're taking potassium pills, they're not anywhere near that either. So how do we get that much potassium in our body? 7 cups of vegetables every day. I know, but hear me out. If you have glucose that's not being used to store sugar, okay, it's not in that stored sugar, then it just turns to fat. Again, that fat that we don't want right around our middle, that spare tire, all that. So we need to be able to control our blood sugar so that all that doesn't happen. We have to have potassium. So let's talk about diabetes a minute because that's why we are trying to control our blood sugar, right? Um, when you have diabetes, your body is no longer able to regulate and control your sugar, okay? Your pancreas and your liver, they just can't do it anymore. If you have type 1 diabetes, which is worse, that's a pancreas problem, a chronic pancreas problem. If you have type 2 diabetes, which is still bad, that is a liver problem. All right? Type 1, those cells in your body, in your pancreas, they're exhausted from trying to control all that sugar that you're eating, all that food that's being turned into fat. It can't keep up. It's overwhelmed and it stops producing insulin. It just tires out. And so we have to take insulin, inject insulin to help control that blood sugar. In type 2 diabetes, there are some medications that help. Metformin, which most of us take, helps us with that, okay? In your liver, you have cells that have in each cell like over 200,000 receptors to get pulling the insulin to help us, okay? And what we try to do with metformin is to make those cells more receptive. So let's give an example. Like you get spam calls all the time, right? Well, after a while, what happens? You just stop answering the phone, right? Well, that's what these cells are doing. They're just like, oh my God, it's her again. Forget it, right? And they're not answering the phone. And so they're tired too. So what metformin does is try to make them be more receptive again. Get them to answer the phone, okay? But that is called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance in type 2, lack of insulin altogether in type 1. Why does this happen? It happens because we're eating way too much sugar. We're eating so more than we are using, and so we're having to store as fat, and then we're not burning as fat. It's a cycle that we've got ourselves into, and we've got to get ourselves out of. You know that we, on average, we eat 149 pounds of sugar a year. 149 pounds. That's a person. Okay? So what can we do about it? Okay? Well, a couple of things. Your liver produces a hormone, IGF, which is a growth factor, insulin growth factor, okay? And your pancreas produces insulin. The reason your doctor doesn't talk to you about doing something about your liver is because when they look at these two, they're measured differently, okay? The IGF is measured one way and the insulin another way. So you're comparing apples to oranges, nickels to quarters, things that it doesn't work. You can't compare them, right? So what this explanation that I heard said was, if the liver could be increased productivity by just 20%, it would reduce the stress on your pancreas by 80%. And what would that mean? That would mean your pancreas would be more effective in producing insulin, and your liver would be more effective in being receptive, and the cycle would run the way it's supposed to, okay? The cycle would work. But what happens is all this sugar that we're eating, it's damaging our liver. Might not show up till later in life. People don't even look, doctors don't even look for it till later because they don't understand this maybe. But that liver damage is because we're eating wrong and we need more vegetables. Also, when we reach the age of 50, that growth factor starts to reduce. Every decade it goes down and becomes lower. So, what can we do to help with that, right? How can we get our growth hormone working as good as possible? Well, one thing we can do is interval training. Forget the treadmill, forget the elliptical, all that. You need to like push really hard doing something for about 30 seconds and then rest for 3 minutes. And then do something really hard for 30 seconds and then rest 3 minutes. That kind of training will increase and enhance that growth hormone. Second thing is get enough sleep. 7 to 8 hours of sleep is what you need to keep that growth hormone as high as possible. And why do we want that? Growth hormone burns fat. It helps anti-aging. It protects our proteins from being broken down into sugar. It protects our collagen that is so important to all of our body. Okay? We want that growth hormone to be as high as possible. And the other thing we can do, we can eat those 7 cups of vegetables. How are we going to do that? I know. Really, how? Well, a kale shake in the morning. I know. Kale smoothie. But, guys, you can add banana, you can add almond milk, you can add things to that makes it palatable and enjoyable. I used to have a spinach smoothie every morning, so kale, we can do kale too. Kale, I know you've heard it's a superfood. Well, this is one of the reasons it's a superfood, because it is the very best food to help our liver. The very best. So if you can get yourself to have that kale smoothie in the morning, and then you have a salad at lunch, and then at dinner you have some more vegetables, you get as close to that 7 cups as you can. And when you do that, you're going to help heal and protect your liver. And that means you're going to be able to control your blood sugars, because you've got the cycle working again the way it's supposed to. The liver, the pancreas working together, okay, tag teaming to make sure that your blood sugar stays where it's supposed to be. Because our bodies simply were not built for what we're doing for it. And so we're destroying it. So guys, this is your power for today. I know it's hard to even think about, but 7 cups of vegetables is going to make so much difference in controlling your blood sugar. So much difference. I hope you learned something today. I hope it's something that means something to you, that you can use. Please share this video and share this video and share this video and subscribe to my channel. That's what I would like for you to do, please. I hope I found you safe today. I hope I found you well, and I hope I found you happy. This is Donna Denson, the Dynamic Diabetic. Thank you for being here. May God bless and keep you until we connect again. Bye-bye.